sound still gets me every single time. All right. Entitled Mission to Recovery, Episode 8. You don't get credit for the hard part. No, you fucking don't. All right. Let's do it. That's what I said. Do 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 do. It almost sounds like Mario Brothers. Do 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 do. No, Bowser's Castle. You don't get credit for the hard part anymore. Nobody warned me about this part. Everyone talks about how hard it is to get sober. They talk about discipline. They talk about white knuckling and cravings and rebuilding your life. And nobody told me that once I finally stopped being a problem, nobody gave a shit. There was no applause. No, hey man, I'm proud of you. No acknowledgement. It just became normal. And I hated that more than I expected. Welcome to Mission to Recovery. This isn't motivation, it's truth with consequences. I'm not here to teach, I'm here to tell you what I had to admit about myself. So let's go. This is what I thought discipline would feel like. I had this quiet fantasy in my head that once I got my shit together, someone would notice, that discipline would feel rewarding, that doing the right thing would come with some kind of acknowledgement. Not a parade. I'm not fucking insane. Just something, right? Something tangible, something that made me feel better. What actually happened was just silence. People stopped checking my tone. They stopped asking how I was doing, stopped managing me. And at first I told myself that I was fine with it, but I wasn't. I realized part of me still wanted credit for not being a liability anymore. I wanted people to notice. That was fucking uncomfortable to admit, that I still wanted to be the center for just being a normal person. That's when silence started feeling like rejection. I remember noticing all of that in the small moments. Conversations felt lighter, but also shorter. No one hovered, no one circled back, and I caught myself thinking, do they even know how hard this is? And that thought embarrassed me, because what I was really saying was I was recognizing, I want recognition. I wanted recognition for emotional regulation. And when you say that shit out loud, even just to myself, it sounds so fucking ridiculous. Like, nobody thanks you for not exploding. Hey, thanks for being calm today. That was really generous of you. No, people just stop bracing around you. That's what that looks like. That silence that you hear, that's not disrespect. It's truth. It's trust. I just wasn't ready to be invisible, because trust made me feel invisible. It makes me feel invisible. And it brings me to the resentment I didn't want to admit. No, I didn't want to own this part. Because, yeah, it's true. I started feeling resentful. Not loud resentment, quiet, internal. I'm doing everything right. Resentment. I was showing up. I was staying regulated. I was being predictable. And some part of me was thinking, shouldn't that count for something? That's when I realized I hadn't fully let go of being seen as the intense one. That the part of me loved being seen as that intense one. The one people worried about. But wasn't letting go of that. Wasn't letting go of the one who mattered because he disrupted the room every fucking night. Stability just took that all away. And instead of relief, I felt small. And that scared me. And this is how scorekeeping showed up in me. Now, I didn't go on and say anything out loud, but internally I was keeping score. I noticed myself counting effort, tracking how often I stayed quiet, measuring how much restraint I was showing, and how much and the more I counted, the better I felt. Like, I went to that party, I didn't do anything. Yeah, in that stressful situation, I stayed calm. Dang. Oh, my kids are all yelling, running ragged, and guess what? I didn't go for the bottle. That's a fucking red flag. Because on the outside, I look calm. On the inside, I was negotiating. That's not discipline. That's a performance. It's just a performance with a better mask. And I could feel it leaking. You know, I can feel it leaking into my tone, into my patience, into my silence. Not dramatic, just sharp. So why did this phase that I was in with that, why this phase like really fucked with me? The stage, like, I'll be honest, it messed with me more than early sobriety because nothing was wrong. There was no chaos. There was no emergencies. There was no fires to put out. Just normal days. It's funny, like, I realized how much my identity had been built around urgency and chaos and anxiety. When life is quiet, I didn't feel peaceful. I felt almost irrelevant. Like I didn't matter. What was my purpose? When I caught myself wanting something to go wrong. It sounds horrible, but you almost pray for that shit. Not consciously, but in a subtle, fucked up way where you miss the adrenaline. You know what I mean? That's when it hit me. I wasn't addicted to substances anymore. I was addicted to being needed. And then comes the moment I realized standards, they don't give a shit. You know, the shift didn't come from motivation. It came from embarrassment. You know, when I heard myself thinking, this is hard, someone should acknowledge that. Why? What makes me special? And I immediately would follow that would follow with another thought. So what? That's when it clicked, okay? Standards don't care how hard this is for me. They're not impressed. They don't negotiate. They don't reward effort. They just exist. And I don't stay sober so someone can notice. I don't regulate my emotions so I can be thanked. I do it because that's the man or person I said I was becoming. Anything else is conditional. And conditional discipline always fucking collapses. Every fucking time. So we do this without an audience. The hardest part for me was doing this without witnesses. Because that's how we grew up. That's how I was raised. That's how I move forward through my addiction, is everyone noticing me. But this one, doing this, there's no feedback. There's no reassurance. There's no one saying, yeah, I see it. Maybe once in a while. I'll give that. Haven't seen someone for a while, they'll come up and say, hey, you look good. I hear you're doing well. How's it going? Congrats. And you seek that over and over and over and over. But on the most part, no one's saying it. You just have repetition. Day after day of being boring on purpose. And I realized something uncomfortable. When I needed to be seen, to be disciplined, I wasn't disciplined yet. That's what I realized. If I have to have someone notice that I'm being disciplined, then are you really disciplined? Because I think you're just putting on a show then. You're still performing like you did when you were a drunken asshole, just quieter. Putting on this mask. You're doing it for others, for them to notice. That's when it hits you. Letting go of I deserve. That phase. Whew. Phase is a motherfucker. I had to kill it. Kill I deserve. I deserve recognition. I deserve appreciation. I deserve a break. Every time that thought showed up, I noticed how fast resentment followed. Because deserve turns standards into transactions. And the second I believed that I was owed something, my behavior stopped being clean. So I had to let it go. Not because it felt good, because it felt honest. What the fuck did I deserve? My family deserves a break. They deserve recognition for what they put up with. Yeah, getting sober or clean or fixing your life, it's fucking hard. Doesn't mean you deserve praise for it. Hey, congratulations for being normal. You fucktard. The version of me that doesn't need to be seen. And there's a version of me now that I don't need to be noticed. That guy, yeah, he's quieter. He doesn't explain himself and he doesn't wait for feedback. The best part is people don't worry about that guy. They don't manage him. They don't check his mood. And it's not because he's impressive. It's because he's consistent. That consistency doesn't feel special. It feels solid. And solid finally feels better than that intense guy. Feels better than intense ever did, yeah. So let's get to the final truth. The truth I had to accept was this. If I need recognition to stay disciplined, I'm still negotiating with my old self. The goal isn't applause, it's alignment. Not being admired, but being trusted. This is Mission to Recovery. Now go forth and kick ass.